Why aren't politicians psychologically evaluated? What are the criteria, who decides what it is and who enforces it? Since it would have to be a law, the answer is politicians. Because the people, who choose their representatives, haven't decided that it would be a good idea to do so. Great idea. It was actually used before https://n.m.wikipedia.org Wikipolitical Abusio Psychiatrian, Soviet Union. Because that would be one way for a specific party to keep people from the other party from getting into office. They should piss in a cup every week as well. Everybody thinks this is a good idea unless the other side gets any say in constructing these tests. What happens when the psychological test is questions about trans people and illegal immigrants? Well, in the US, at least there's an entire election period where we the public should be evaluating their competency for office. Rather hundreds of millions of voters decide if someone is competent enough to hold office rather than some unnamed psychiatrist administering some obscure test to determine if someone is allowed to hold office. Politicians often face intense scrutiny, but psychological evaluations aren't standard for them, partly due to the belief in public accountability and the diversity of political views. However, as their decisions can indeed impact society deeply, there's a growing conversation about the value of mental health assessments for leaders to ensure they are fit to govern. Why don't they have to go through the same scrutiny that someone that holds a clearance has to go through as well? Among other reasons, because once institutionalized, it's an excuse to subvert a political opponent. The hope is that the voters would have the virtue to remove ailing politicians on their own, but all systems can grow wild and untenable. And this one has been picking its voters for a while. Because we generally speaking have the right to vote for who we want. You're going to tell me some pencil neck from some fancy college gets to determine if my candidate is able to run? You think this will be used to keep crazy people from running, but in reality it be used to keep marginalized people from running. It's basically a version of the grandfather clause. Democracy. We get to vote on who we believe to be mentally stable and capable. If the will of a couple members on an evaluation board can overrule the voice of the people, then there is no democracy. We like to throw around the word oligarchy when talking about the US, but that would truly be an oligarchy. There's actually a requirement for that. If you know the secret trick, it's called not voting for them if they don't do it. Get enough people together and boom, it's now mandatory. They are the ones who would vote on such a proposal law. It's a good point. Politicians wield significant influence, so evaluating their mental health could be crucial. However, such evaluations might face challenges like political bias and privacy concerns. It's a complex issue, but ensuring leaders are fit to govern could benefit society overall. It wasn't in the Constitution that it's required, and politicians are the ones who update the laws. Most people wouldn't put extra regulations and controls on themselves. Are the people voting their representative not considering that? It wouldn't matter. They are, in a sense, by the voters. And who would maintain this standard? The government? Welcome to Corruption Junction.